Hello and welcome to C.A.T.S Corner. My name is Kayla, and today we are going to be creating an emotional check-in chart for kids and families. So when you think about emotions and emotional intelligence, especially when it comes to child development, you might think of the things that you want to teach your kids, such as, following instructions, paying attention to the rules, and then also their general health and well-being, how to eat healthy, how to exercise and all that. But something that a lot of people don't necessarily think of and that we educate very unconsciously is emotional intelligence, or the way that we understand and interact with our emotions. So this activity, this emotions check-in chart that we're going to make, can be really helpful for families if you want to start integrating, some emotional awareness and intelligence into your life. It's going to allow your kids or anyone within your family to say, this is how I'm feeling today, and maybe learn a couple words to describe how you're feeling on that day. And then you can use it as a family unit to kind of check in with each other and understand how you might be able to help. So, in order to do this project, you're not going to need many materials. The first thing is you're going to need some kind of rectangular backing. So I'm using a poster board, just a cheap old, $1 poster board. You could also use, if you want to use recyclable materials, you could use an old pizza box, and you could, tape some paper to it or glue some paper on so you have a nice plain backing. You could use an old cereal box and paint it. Really, this could be a really awesome family activity that anyone can kind of decorate the back and create their own stuff. So you'll need a poster board. You will also need some kind of coloring utensils. I have just some basic markers, some other skinnier markers that I had at home, but you could use paint, colored pencils, crayons, glitter, whatever you have, oil pastels even. You're going to need something to measure with or something straight, so I have a ruler right here. You will need a Sharpie. And finally, you will need, you can use other clips if you like, but I really like clothespins. And we're going to create a clothespin for each person of the family, so that way when you attach it to the chart, you can kind of track where people are. So the first thing that you're going to do is, however big you decide you want your poster board to be, I took a poster board and cut it into quarters. So this is 1/4 of a poster board. You are going to want to divide it into however many different emotional categories you think you might want to show. So I chose 4. I'm going to do happy, sad, angry, and then put some other suggestions in there. But you'll divide it into 4 using your ruler and a general marker. Once you have that done, then you're really ready to decorate. So this is a really great opportunity if you're working with kids to ask them, what emotions do you want to have put on this chart? And you can kind of talk about, well, what are some of the most common emotions that you might feel? Do you feel angry a lot? Do you feel happy? And I chose some of the basic ones. So happy, angry, and sad are going to be pretty easy and pretty universal. So I am going to pull out some of my coloring utensils and start labeling each of these. I'm going to put the emotion at the top in big letters so everyone can see. The next thing I'm going to do is draw a face. I think this is important because for a lot of kids, the word, even if they can't read yet, they can look at a face and they can say, oh, I might know what that feeling is, when it connects to you. So you're going to put the emotion up here, a face, and then underneath it, I'm going to put a few suggestions for different words that all fit into that category. So for example, if this is angry, I might put frustrated, I might put aggressive, words, and you can figure these out too. You might look some up online, you might talk about different feelings that can all fit under that category and choose the ones that fit best for your family. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for each of my 3 main emotions, angry, happy, and sad. Step 1, I know it's backwards, but this is angry, happy, and sad. I drew a little art around it to just kind of help enhance the emotion, right? Angry might be kind of like bursting, happy is little polka dots, sad kind of has some clouds and some raindrops. And then I drew 3 circles, and I am going to put different emotional expressions on those. And something that you might be able to do with your kids too as you make this is bring out a mirror and say, okay, show me, what does your angry face look like? And then they can look in the mirror at their angry face and draw what they're seeing. So it's a very hands-on activity to match that. So, I drew some very basic faces. I'm sure if you're working with your kids, they'll want to go all out and give noses and crazy hair and everything like that. But for right now, some of the basics. I made my angry face, a happy face, and a sad face. So the last thing that you're going to do is you are going to add a list of words underneath each that have their synonyms, that have matching meanings, right? So for happy, you might put excited, joyful, cuddly, whatever it means to your family to be happy. So I'm going to go ahead and look up some synonyms and write them down, and I will show you all when I come back. All right, so I looked up some synonyms for each of these words, and I chose 3 for each. I wrote them pretty large. So under angry, I have mad, annoyed, and cranky. Under happy, I put excited, joyful, and proud. And then under sad, I put gloomy, unhappy, and painful. Now I know that, once emotions become more sophisticated, these don't all mean sad. Painful is not the same thing as sad. But if you're trying to help teach emotional intelligence, starting at this base where you can take the most common emotions and then connect new ideas to them can be the most helpful for kids. And if you look underneath each of these, I left enough blank space that later, when we do our clothespins, we will be able to clip them down so everyone can see them. So we have 1 space left, and in this last space, I'm going to make it be our other space. And the other space is going to be for emotions or feelings that you think are significant to your family, but that don't fit under kind of these general categories of maybe angry, happy, or sad. So you might put things like tired, hungry, love, anything that might not fit under those, but that you think you might still see a lot and that your kids think need to be added. So I'm going to go ahead and create my other category, and I will show you it in just a second. All right, so I have created my final category, which was my other category. For my other category, I decided to add the 3 words tired, hungry, and scared. This does have a lot of what we might call negative emotions. We truly believe that there are no negative emotions, but it might be a good idea if you're working with your kids and you want to balance this out, maybe including some other, maybe more positive emotions within the other category. But then I drew a little face for each. So for hungry, they're thinking of an apple. For sleepy, they're thinking of Z's, catching some Z's. And then for scared, you got their eyes wide open. So this is going to be my emotional check-in chart that I am going to use. You will want to display this somewhere where everyone can see it. A good place might be the refrigerator, or maybe on a bulletin board or a memo board that you keep by the front door. Any place that's kind of like the center of your family hub. So you will put this up here. A good time to use it is during transitions within the day, right? Even if you're staying at home, you might do it during breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or morning, afternoon, and evening. You could do it before leaving for school and then after coming back for school. If you do some activities, you could do it, before school, after school, when you come back from the activity, before you go to bed, all of that kind of stuff. And if you kind of build it into your family's routine, a cool thing is that your kids will probably start doing it without prompting. They might just walk in and go, oh, this is how I'm feeling, and start switching it over on their own. So that way everyone can kind of keep tabs on everybody and check in, and you're building that language for how to communicate how you're feeling and your needs with your family. So your chart will look like this. Again, we left space at the bottom to attach clothespins. So you can kind of do clothespins or any other clips any way you want them, really. You could do color-coded. So each person has their own color. I have a green one here. I have a pink one over there. Or what I'm going to do, you can flip it over and write each person's name with the Sharpie on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and write Kayla. So my clothespin says Kayla. And now, whenever I'm checking in, I can move it around. So right now, I think I'm feeling pretty happy. So I'm going to stick it right on here. So that's basically what your emotional check-in chart is going to look like for your family. And you can really adapt this project to address whatever needs you have for your family. You know, what emotions you want to talk about, how you want to draw faces or find synonyms for emotions, how you want to do clips or how they're going to move it around. It's very customizable, so you have a nice firm basis to go off of, but then you can kind of do your own thing. So we thank you for watching, and we hope you tune in again to some of our videos in the future. We're looking forward to seeing you.